I kept searching for peace in new things. But the more I owned, the noisier my life became. Not just physically, mentally. Every unopened package felt like another promise. Every notification felt urgent. Every purchase gave relief for a moment, then quietly demanded more attention in return. And after a while, I noticed something uncomfortable. Most people are not exhausted because life is hard. They are exhausted because nothing in their life ever truly stops touching them. The music, the opinions, the endless scrolling, the pressure to improve, optimize, upgrade, respond. Even rest started feeling performative. And somewhere inside all that noise, silence began to feel unfamiliar. That was the strange part. I wasn't afraid of losing things anymore. I was afraid of sitting in a quiet room with nothing distracting me from myself. Diogenes once said, "The art of being a slave is to rule one's master." And I think modern life has perfected that art, because many of the things we own for comfort slowly begin owning us back. Not aggressively, quietly, one convenience at a time. What changed my life was not learning how to own less. It was realizing how many things I had trained myself to psychologically depend on. And I don't just mean physical possessions. I mean constant background noise, constant stimulation, constant emotional escape routes. At some point, I began noticing how uncomfortable ordinary silence had become for most people. A quiet walk without headphones felt incomplete. Waiting in line without checking a phone felt irritating. An empty evening felt like failure instead of rest. And that disturbed me more than clutter ever did. Because when a human being loses the ability to simply sit still with their own thoughts, consumption stops being a habit and starts becoming anesthesia. That was the beginning of my relationship with extreme minimalism. Not aesthetics, not empty white rooms, not performative simplicity for social media. I wasn't trying to build a minimalist lifestyle that looked impressive. I was trying to understand why modern life felt emotionally heavy all the time. The strange thing is, most people never question the weight they carry because everyone around them is carrying it too. The mental clutter becomes normalized. In psychology, there's something called the hedonic treadmill, the tendency for human beings to rapidly return to a baseline level of satisfaction after positive changes. Which means the new purchase, the upgrade, the convenience, the entertainment, rarely creates lasting peace. It simply resets desire. And once you see that clearly, modern consumer culture starts looking less like freedom and more like an endless system of emotional maintenance. Diogenes understood this thousands of years ago. While Athens chased status, luxury, reputation, and comfort, he deliberately reduced his needs until almost nothing external could psychologically control him. Not because suffering is noble, but because dependence is expensive. Every unnecessary attachment quietly demands attention, fear, maintenance, protection, or emotional energy. And I slowly realized that peace was not entering my life because my mind was overcrowded with things competing for it. Notifications competing for it. Possessions competing for it. Desires competing for it. Even ambition competing for it. So little by little, I stopped asking, what else can improve my life? And started asking something far more uncomfortable. What can I remove that is quietly stealing my peace? And once I started asking that question honestly, I began noticing something almost disturbing about modern life. Most people are not living intentionally. They are reacting continuously. Reacting to notifications. Reacting to advertising. Reacting to trends. Reacting to emotional impulses they mistake for personal choices. The average person now consumes more information in a single day than people centuries ago encountered in weeks. And yet, despite all this stimulation, people feel mentally dull, emotionally drained, and strangely disconnected from themselves. Because the human nervous system was never designed for this level of interruption. Silence has become rare. Stillness has become suspicious. And doing nothing now feels uncomfortable enough that people reach for distraction within seconds. There's a reason many people instinctively check their phones the moment an elevator door closes. It is not always addiction to information. Sometimes it is avoidance of stillness. Blaise Pascal wrote something unsettling centuries ago. All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. And modern society has quietly built an entire economy around preventing exactly that. Infinite scrolling, autoplay, personalized algorithms, constant entertainment. Not because these things are evil by themselves, but because overstimulation keeps the mind externally occupied and internally disconnected. That was the state I was living in before extreme minimalism began changing me. My room was full. My schedule was full. My attention was fragmented into pieces. Even rest no longer felt restorative because my brain never fully stopped consuming. And the strangest part was this. From the outside, life looked normal, productive even, but internally, it felt like carrying invisible weight all the time. The Stoics often warned that human beings suffer more from unnecessary desires than from genuine hardship. I didn't understand that before. Now I do. Because once comfort becomes dependency, peace becomes impossible. You begin needing more and more stimulation just to feel emotionally neutral. And eventually, the mind becomes so crowded it can no longer hear itself think. What I didn't expect was how physical clutter and mental clutter mirror each other almost perfectly. When I started removing things from my space, I wasn't organizing my life in the way minimalism content usually shows. I was testing something deeper, whether my mind would feel different if my environment stopped constantly asking for attention. At first, nothing changed. In fact, it felt worse. Because every object I touched carried a small emotional weight. Not because it was useful, but because it represented a version of me that once believed I needed it. That's the part nobody talks about. Decluttering is not just removal. It is confrontation. You start noticing how many things you keep out of guilt, memory, identity, or fear of future discomfort. And it's not just physical. I began reducing digital noise too. Apps I opened automatically. Tabs I never closed. Endless content I consumed without intention. There's a psychological concept called attention residue, when your mind doesn't fully leave one task before moving to the next. It quietly fragments your thinking capacity over time. That's why even simple days start feeling mentally heavy. I noticed it clearly when I tried to sit for just 10 minutes without stimulation. My mind didn't feel quiet. It felt loud, not from the outside world, but from inside. That was the real clutter. Not objects, not apps, not commitments, but unprocessed thoughts constantly demanding escape. And slowly, I began changing small things. Not dramatically, not like a lifestyle transformation video. More like subtraction. One drawer, one app, one habit of reaching for distraction without noticing. And something subtle started happening. The emptiness didn't feel empty anymore. It felt available, as if space itself had a psychological quality I had never allowed myself to experience. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations that, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." But what I was discovering is that most people never get access to that mind space in the first place because it is constantly occupied. Occupied by noise, occupied by consumption, occupied by emotional avoidance. Extreme minimalism, in my experience, wasn't about owning less. It was about finally noticing what was always there underneath the accumulation. A quieter layer of awareness that modern life keeps burying. And the more I removed, the more I realized I wasn't losing anything important. I was just finally meeting myself without interference. There was a specific moment where this stopped being an experiment and started becoming undeniable. I remember sitting in a room that, by most standards, looked almost empty. Not aesthetic empty, but intentionally reduced. No background noise. No distractions within reach. Just stillness. And for the first time, I didn't immediately try to fill it. But what surprised me wasn't peace. It was discomfort. A subtle restlessness rising without anything external triggering it. As if my mind had been conditioned for years to require constant input just to remain stable. This is something modern psychology quietly acknowledges. When external stimulation drops, the mind initially amplifies internal noise. Thoughts that were previously buried under distraction begin to surface. And that's where most people unconsciously retreat. They reach for their phone. They turn on sound. They escape the moment. But I stayed. Not because it felt enlightened, but because there was nowhere left to run without noticing it. And something shifted. The discomfort didn't increase indefinitely. It peaked and then softened, like mental static slowly dissolving when you stop feeding it interference. That's when I understood something I had read before but never truly experienced. Seneca wrote that we suffer more in imagination than in reality, but I would add something more precise. We suffer more from constant avoidance of ourselves than from life itself. In that stillness, I began noticing how many of my impulses were not needs, but reflexes trained by overstimulation. The urge to check something, the urge to consume something, the urge to escape something. And beneath all of it, a deeper layer I hadn't been in touch with for a long time. Clarity, not emotional euphoria, not inspiration, not productivity, just absence of interference. And in that absence, something very quiet became obvious. I wasn't lacking more things. I was drowning in too much noise to recognize I already had enough. And maybe that is the real shift extreme minimalism creates. Not a life that looks empty from the outside, but a mind that finally stops negotiating with every passing desire. Less stress, yes. Less clutter, yes. But more importantly, less psychological fragmentation. Because when you remove what constantly pulls at your attention, what remains is not emptiness. It is clarity that was always there, just buried. We often assume freedom means having more options. But in practice, too many options become subtle pressure. Every possession, every commitment, every digital habit carries a small demand on your awareness. And over time, that becomes the weight people mistake for normal life. As the Stoics repeatedly suggested, the problem is rarely external life. It is our attachment to unnecessary internal demands. Extreme minimalism simply exposes those demands, not to punish them, but to see them clearly. And once you see them clearly, you stop confusing comfort with peace. So the real question is not whether you can live with less. It is whether you are willing to stop being unconsciously controlled by more. If this reflection made you pause even slightly, share what you noticed in your own life in the comments. Like the video if you want more of these deep explorations on intentional living and minimalist mindset. And subscribe, not for more content, but for fewer distractions that actually matter.